Mission, deliver SAVVA tokens to every staker. All right, team, start loading those crates. We've got tokens to deliver. Everything is secured and we are ready for takeoff. Mission is a go! Wait, do we have the staker list? Are you in the list yet? Stake now and don't miss out.
Hello, everyone. Today we have a short but very important stream for you all. Today we're going to make an important announcement regarding the specific date and time when the network snapshot will occur. And this marks the final step, the conclusive stage of our meticulous preparations before the grand launch of the SAVVA platform on the innovative Monad blockchain. So just to recap, the SAVVA platform is launching on the Monad blockchain. I highly recommend the previous stream. In that video, we extensively explained our rationale behind this decision and elaborated on the precise mechanisms of how everything will unfold moving forward. I am absolutely confident that this was indeed the correct decision to make. And as a small confirmation of this, after we officially announced that we would be launching on the Monad blockchain, the number of subscribers on my channel quickly surpassed 25,000. That's a very good sign, confirming we're definitely heading in the right direction. So, what exactly is it that we plan on doing next? Yes, just a quick remark. So, why exactly did we experience a slight delay in the process? We ended up spending an additional week. And this was due to the following. OpenAI, in collaboration with the Paradigm Fund, has launched an absolutely groundbreaking and truly phenomenal audit system specifically designed for the thorough inspection of smart contracts. This remarkable system is known as EVM Bench. And we decided not to miss out on this opportunity. We chose to conduct yet another deep audit of all our smart contracts. And that truly was the right call, a very prudent decision. Generally speaking, conducting an audit of smart contracts has consistently been a considerably expensive undertaking, yet it remains an undeniably crucial one. Every time you launch smart contracts, you naturally want to test them thoroughly. This is because one of the fundamental properties of a blockchain, known as immutability, means that once a contract is deployed onto the blockchain, it becomes unchangeable and cannot be altered thereafter. That's not entirely accurate. There are clever methods that allow certain updates to contracts to still be implemented nonetheless. But overall, deploying contracts onto the blockchain is indeed an extremely critical and responsible undertaking. It is always preferable for smart contracts to be free from any substantial errors, ideally containing none at all. I must say that about a year ago, when we were initially launching on Polchain, we actually conducted a comprehensive audit of all our smart contracts. That was more than a year ago. I remember we paid well over $20,000 for that audit, probably around 22 or 23,000. I wasn't entirely satisfied with the outcomes. Why? Because even after the audit was successfully completed and passed, we still continued to discover minor discrepancies within the contracts, which we then had to somehow go about rectifying. I really must express that this EVM bench system, which is founded upon artificial intelligence that meticulously scrutinizes the quality of smart contracts, is something truly and utterly phenomenal. This implies the level of comprehension of the contracts themselves and the depth of knowledge concerning the proper way smart contracts ought to be written. The sound is good, excellent, and a deep understanding of all the clever mechanisms that can be used to exploit any contract flaws. This system demonstrates its capabilities on a simply phenomenal level. However, some minor inaccuracies were still detected within our existing smart contracts after the audit. They weren't overwhelmingly significant, yet they certainly presented the most considerable issues. Our biggest problem, however, was with our random number oracle. As many of you probably know, a fundamental requirement within our SAVVA system's tokenomics is the generation of random numbers. We have this concept which we refer to as the post fund. In my opinion, it's quite a fascinating idea where readers of a particular article can contribute a small amount of tokens to what's known as the post fund, thereby supporting the content creator directly. A small portion of these funds directly benefits the author and supports them, while the larger part, the majority of this money, is simply distributed among everyone who contributed to this modest collection of donations directly into this fund for a specific particular post. And to correctly determine the winner, the individual who ultimately receives these accumulated tokens, one genuinely needs a truly robust and verifiable random number. This was precisely where we encountered a significant and persistent problem on Polchain, and we diligently sought ways to address it. We had established a contract designed to generate what we referred to as a pseudo-random number. And the reason for that, you ask? Why exactly were we compelled to do this? This was because there wasn't a reliable random number oracle available on Polchain, and so we were endeavoring to develop one. We did possess a rather commendable pseudo-random number generator, but with the advent and widespread integration of artificial intelligence, the entire landscape of this situation has undergone a profound and dramatic transformation. In what sense? The point is, with the help of these analytical audit systems, anyone, even someone not deeply versed in how to exploit contract vulnerabilities, can quite easily to recognize shortcomings in smart contracts, and the system itself will then assist them in constructing a method that can exploit these very flaws. And it turns out that at this point in time, we simply cannot afford any more illusory, highly labor-intensive, and rather complex solutions or alternatives where people are actually able to improperly exploit our smart contract. We ended up dedicating a considerable amount of time to somehow fix our pseudo-random number generator, aiming to completely eliminate all potential scenarios of incorrect contract usage. This was to ensure robust security and functionality. But, as one could probably surmise from the outset, it proved to be unfeasible because there's a fundamental truth that, of course, we recognized from the very beginning. There's absolutely no theoretical possibility of achieving genuinely robust entropy generation or random number generation by exclusively, and I mean truly exclusively, leveraging the blockchain's very own virtual machine. We don't need a lengthy lecture on this subject. Just believe me, it's an undeniable fact that it cannot be accomplished. The one and only correct method for this situation is to utilize oracles. So, what exactly is an oracle? An oracle is a system that brings information from outside the blockchain into the blockchain itself, and there are quite a number of these oracles available. What's more, the situation with oracle systems on the Monad blockchain is significantly better compared to Pulse chains. Pulse chain doesn't have any large, good, advanced, well-known oracles. There are some options already available, but they aren't very popular, and unfortunately, they don't allow for the generation of random numbers. But on the Monad platform, this capability has been present since its very first day. Thus, instead of you having to generate random numbers yourself, you can simply utilize one of these decentralized services available, which is precisely what we eventually did. We completely eliminated our own generator, and as a result, we successfully navigated the entirety of the EVM bench audit without encountering any errors. This took us, well, roughly a week to resolve. Because of this, there's been a slight unforeseen delay in our current plans. Okay. So, starting from March 3rd, and specifically within the period of March 3rd to March 7th, we will be performing what is known as a network snapshot. Essentially, on one of these days, we will scan the blockchain once more and meticulously compile a comprehensive list of all SAVVA token stakers, detailing precisely which account holds how many staked tokens. And then we'll be using this information to conduct an airdrop on the new block, within the Monad blockchain. This means that you, our valued listeners, still have 2 full days remaining. If you happen to want to take part in this airdrop, there's a perfectly understandable scenario for how you can participate and accomplish it. You'll need to figure out how to get onto the Pulse chain blockchain, acquire SAVVA tokens there, and then stake them. If between March 3rd and 7th you have any staked SAVVA tokens in your account, then that exact same quantity of tokens will be automatically airdropped to that very same account on the Monad blockchain, completely free of charge. Then you can unstake your SAVVA tokens, doing with them as you wish. So, why are we announcing a specific period rather than an exact time? Well, this is actually a well-known practice in blockchain technologies. If one precisely defines the exact moment of this network snapshot, it creates an opportunity for certain individuals to act incorrectly, utilizing this information to manipulate the situation at the very last moment somehow, to manipulate the token's price in an unfair manner. To prevent such things from happening, a snapshot is usually announced as a period, not an exact time. Yes, your task is to get everything you need ready, all prepared, before March 3rd arrives. So, what precisely will be considered again during the question mark? the snapshot event. First and foremost, we'll be looking at the quantity and balance of your staked SAVVA tokens. And secondly, as I've already stated in the previous live stream, we will also be taking into account positions in liquidity provision on the decentralized exchange for the airdrop. This refers to the individuals who are providing us with the opportunity to trade the SAVVA token, especially those who provide liquidity on Pulse Chain's decentralized exchanges. Their positions will also be taken into account during the airdrop process. Therefore, there's absolutely no need for these liquidity providers to withdraw their liquidity from exchanges right now. Everything will stay exactly as it is, and their balances will be properly counted as well. By our estimates, approximately 168 million SAVVAM tokens will be minted on the Monad blockchain. But naturally, once we conduct this snapshot, all the exact details will, of course, be communicated to everyone. Yes, a very important slide. This means there won't be any further or additional token packages or newly minted tokens created when we launch on Monad. This signifies that we are indeed in the unique category of what is commonly referred to as a 100% fair airdrop. This means that new SAVVA tokens will exclusively be distributed to individuals who are currently staking SAVVA tokens on Pulse Chain, as well as to those contributing to liquidity provision on Pulse Chain, and definitely no one else. There will be no additional tokens ever minted. Instead, tokens will be created on a one-to-one basis, precisely matching the balances of those currently staking or providing liquidity on Pulse Chain. This means there are absolutely no community funds, no team treasury, no early investors to speak of, and I certainly won't be minting any tokens for myself, nor are there any other founders involved with the platform. This is truly a 100% fair airdrop, and we always strive, especially when such events occur on the SAVVA platform, to be extremely meticulous. Those who have been with us for many years already know our dedication. To us, individuals who hold SAVVA tokens and don't sell them are our golden fund. We always strive to treat them with the utmost respect, actively preventing what could be termed the dilution of token value through any of our actions or decisions. A small checklist, which we also went over in the last stream. So if you have SAVVA tokens and they are staked, you're all set, you don't need to do anything. If you're providing liquidity for SAVVA tokens on an exchange, you're all set, you don't need to do anything. If you happen to have a certain amount of liquid SAVVA tokens in your wallet, all that's required of you is to stake them before March 3rd. It's a very simple operation. You simply click a button, declare I want to add to stake, and then you commit the entire amount to your stake. And finally, yes, one very important detail is that balances will strictly be considered solely for user addresses, specifically those holding a private key. And for the vast majority of our listeners and users, these are exactly the kind of addresses you have. We do have a few contract addresses on the platform, which we call non-profit organizations, or NPOs. This is a form of contract which can also hold a certain balance of tokens. For these specific, more exotic contracts, it is absolutely essential to transfer the tokens from these NPO balances to the addresses of user accounts, specifically those accounts that possess a private key. So yes, actually, that's exactly what I just explained needs to be done before March 3rd. The overwhelming majority of my listeners today most likely won't need to take any action. This is because we already know from our statistics that over 90% of all SAVVA tokens are currently in a staked condition. This makes things much simpler for everyone, for very clear reasons. This is because the very SAVVA system's tokenomics are structured in such a way that when tokens are staked, they become integral to our subscriptions, user payments, and other similar functions. Therefore, most individuals are already holding their tokens in a staked state, so they don't need to take any action. For them, it will simply happen automatically. Just a quick reminder, in addition to your balances, your registered names will also be migrated. Therefore, if you possess a registered name within the SAVVA platform, that identical name will also be seamlessly linked with your corresponding address on the Monad blockchain. Just to clarify, and perhaps not everyone fully understands this, both of these particular blockchain networks are what is called an EVM blockchain. This means that they fully adhere to Ethereum standards. Consequently, on the Monad blockchain, you'll still have that very same address. Every single letter and digit will be precisely identical, and that same address will also have your own name associated with it. Again, with the caveat that names for NPO contracts won't transfer. Watch the previous stream where we explained in detail why this is technically impossible. Another very important point we covered last time, but it's crucial to state it again today. We are making absolutely no assumptions whatsoever as to how this entire launch might ultimately impact the token's price. We simply aren't making any such predictions, to be clear. Once the SAVVA platform is launched on the Monad blockchain, another brand new token will then come into existence. So there will be the SAVVA token on Pulse chain as before, and the SAVVAM token, which will launch on the Monad platform. We don't know how much each of them will be worth. Our task is to ensure these tokens are able to be traded on decentralized exchanges, and the market itself will ultimately determine their value and what they are worth. How much these tokens are worth. I should mention, as I did last time, my assumption is that when the token officially launches on Monad, its value will probably be quite low, because it currently has no real utility. At present, there are no real social media platforms existing on Monad that actually make use of this particular token. Once they actually start to surface, it will probably in some fashion affect the price, so please do not expect that. Don't anticipate us making any promises whatsoever about what the ultimate value or cost of all this will eventually be. Yes, and it's very important that the price of the SAVVA token on Pulse chain will also likely change somehow. I have no idea how. We'll be watching the price dynamics with interest ourselves. So, what happens after this snapshot takes place? It's also very simple. I'll walk you through it. So, from the 3rd to the 7th, we will conduct this scan of the blockchain and gather all the information. Once that occurs, we will certainly enable the publication of this crucial information for everyone. I plan to implement a system where each individual within their personal wallet can clearly see the results of the snapshot event, specifically the exact quantity of new tokens they are expected to receive on the Monad blockchain. Each participant will easily verify their unique token allocation. There, I hope they will all be correct. We will try to carry out this procedure as accurately as possible. But if by any chance there are any significant discrepancies in these figures, please do let us know. We will investigate each case thoroughly and conduct a complete clearance of all this information. So there will be a particular period where you will already be aware of the exact number of tokens you're set to receive, but as of that point, nothing will have been officially launched yet. Once this entire verification process is complete, and we have satisfied ourselves that we've executed everything flawlessly, confirming the total token count is precise, and individual balances are accurate for everyone, we will then move forward with deploying the SAVVA platform's actual contracts onto the Monad blockchain mainnet. A critically important observation, as of now, at this very moment, no SAVVA contracts exist within the Monad blockchain. This is a very crucial point. Why? Because if by chance you come across a SAVVAM token on the Monad blockchain right now, it is not the authentic SAVVAM token. These are simply unscrupulous individuals attempting to exploit the system. This frequently happens. People often start issuing tokens and attempt to sell them to others, even when those tokens are not genuine. Do not succumb to this misinformation. Please await confirmation directly from us, from me personally, verifying that the token has officially launched and what its authentic address is. Right, next, after we upload all the contracts, there will definitely be a certain period where we will once again have to test everything. This is because even though everything is functioning quite stably and exceptionally well on the Monad testnet, the mainnet is always a special responsibility. We'll spend a bit more time just to convince ourselves that everything is okay. Following that, we will proceed with the actual distribution of the tokens themselves. So at a certain point, once all the contracts are fully in place and the token itself comes into existence, we will then initiate the precise transfer procedure for all these newly created tokens, distributing them directly to each of your designated addresses. We plan to implement this by directly transferring the tokens to your addresses rather than through a complex claiming process. This means that no claim procedure will be necessary on your part later on. You won't need to perform any additional operations. The balance of these tokens will magically appear in your account, on your statement, all by itself. So, that's pretty much all I wanted to convey today. Make sure to subscribe to our channels and to my personal channels as well. To your left, you'll find a QR code. This QR code leads directly to my personal account on the X platform. All information, all updates will definitely be published there. Thank you very much indeed. All right, I see a small question here. Does this mean the random number generation vulnerability remains in Pulse Chain? Yes, that's correct. It does remain, but it's, how should I put it? It is exceedingly challenging to exploit. In order to truly exploit that particular contract which remains on Pulse Chain, one would have to enter into collusion with the blockchain's validators. So it is quite a complicated procedure, indeed. And let's not forget why we embarked on such a, well, let's just say a somewhat unconventional and not entirely robust approach to generating random numbers. It's precisely because the stakes involved are quite low for us. Using these random numbers, we are essentially raffling off extremely small sums of money. I mean, the actual post funds, are just $5, $10, or maybe $20. Therefore, theoretically, it is possible to exploit inaccuracies in random number generation. However, to achieve this, you would need to invest significantly more capital than any potential profit you anticipate receiving. So after all your huge investments, you might manage to steal, $20? Most likely no one will even bother to engage in such activity. However, even with that argument in mind, we've still made the definitive decision that on the Monad blockchain, we will indeed abandon this particular approach and instead adopt the proper method the way it truly ought to be done. That's everything. Thank you all so very much. We had a rather brief stream today. All right. Are there already applications for websites to launch on Monad? Well, I'll just keep you in suspense on that one for a little longer, shall we say. Discussions on this topic are already actively underway. We will keep an eye on the news. I really don't like talking about what's going to happen. I always much prefer discussing things that have already come to fruition. The moment a new social network launches, and if that particular social network makes the decision to fully integrate and utilize it, Monad as the foundation for its operations, don't doubt it, we'll arrange a fun, festive stream, tell you everything, celebrate, and pop open a bottle of champagne. That's it. Thank you all. Stay tuned for updates. I truly hope this year becomes the year of the Monad blockchain, because it's a phenomenally interesting story, and we are definitely in the right place. The consistent growth of my channel's subscribers truly attests to the fact that we are heading in the right direction. Hello, everyone.